guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel where we learn everything ethical hacking. If you're just joining me, of course, don't forget to like, share, and comment on my videos. And lastly, turn on the notification bell so that you don't get to miss any of my updates.
So good evening everyone. Welcome to the part 2 of this publisher room where we'll be discussing on how to escalate privileges from the user thing to a root user. So in last video we discussed on how to get initial access into this machine. We discussed the various animation techniques which included directory fuzzing, partial identification, where we found a vulnerability in DCMS which allowed us to perform RCA. So today we'll be discussing on how to escalate privilege. So yeah, without saying so much. So when I first landed into this box, I noticed some shell weirdness, and for example now in this directory here, we have wide permissions into it, but then we can't really do anything. We can't write to it, we can't create or do anything, and that's like really weird. And also in the TMP here, we saw that we can also do it, and for us to be able to escalate privilege, we need our shells like be really working properly. Yeah. So based on like experience, the first thing I check, because this is definitely not a shell jail, because I could move freely around directories, but I could not just create or do anything. So the first thing I have to check is okay, check with Apparmour if Apparmour is enabled. And as we could see that Apparmour is like literally enabled in this, and this will literally not allow us to like do anything. And the first thing we should be thinking of is bypassing Apparmour for this machine for us to be able to do anything. So next thing I'm going to be checking is okay, what are the Apparmour policy put in this machine? Because those are the things we need to know, be able to like bypass it too. And that's what I'll be doing next. I'm trying to see the Apparmour policy. So as you can see, these are directories that we are denied access to based on this Apparmour stuff here. You could see the slash opt I was talking about and slash tmp, right? So next thing is to be bypassing the series. So my bypass method was one gotten from Arctrix. So let's go to Arctrix. I'll be dropping the link to this in the description of this video. So now from here we could see that they say we could use Apparmour dash disable. So let's see if that works. Okay. Dash D slash opt. So it's giving us error. So like, let's just literally find what other stuff to do. So there's another trick that I also found. I think I'll be dropping that in the description. So the reason why this one worked was because for every individual script in this machine, they require their own Apparmour profile. So since there is no profile put in place for every random script we'll be creating, so let's say we create a script in dev/sha, there will literally be no Apparmour profile for that. And with that, we can use that to bypass this whole Apparmour stuff. So like when user think logs in, so like it was like giving them a more explanation on this, like what I'm trying to bypass for like running it here. So when user think logs in, the slash usl slash sb slash ash is constrained by Apparmour. But when you create, okay, when user thing logs in, the /// SB as ASH is constrained by Apparmour because that single binary has a profile with Apparmour. But when a random script is created, like let's say dev shm /dev/shm, it doesn't have Apparmour for that, and Apparmour, like, it is no profile for that. So that's like what we'll be using to bypass this. So if you look at this one too, so this, yeah, this is where we'll be creating, because like this /opt/ you could see there some so asterisk which are like wildcards that you are not allowed to create anything. But for this large just as SHM, there is no wildcards there. So let's just go into slash dev as SHM and then create a file there. So yes, you could see that okay, we've created the file already, and then let's run this. And then we should be having our our shell should be back to normal now. So let's go back to the home directory. So let's okay. Let's create just a random file and see if it works. Okay, this does not work yet. So okay, we didn't give permissions to that before. /dev/sh. Okay, now this should be working properly now. So now let's just go into, so now that our shell is working properly, now we'll be using my go-to in like escalating privilege is using SUID binary before uploading linked list and finding other exploits. So let's in finding SUID binaries that work with this, we'll be using this command line. So find you could see that it's already giving us the SUID binary already. Looking at this binary, this /usr/husband/run container, yes, we could see that this binary is not a typical SUID binary. Like, it's not typical for like SUID binary. And noticing this, it also matches the name of the script in /opt that we found here. is it? Here, it is it here. You see, it is matching this already. So next thing we'll be doing is running strings and see what this binary, like I have an idea of what this binary is all about. And as you could see here, this binary calls bbash, which then calls the script in slash opt. So the first line of order will be to take a look at the script permission to see if we can actually overwrite this script and find what it can do for us. So let's come here and then let me first clear this. Damn. Okay, so PR roots, that's why we have an issue. That's like a typo from my hand. As you can see here, we have white permissions for this. So we'll be just be abusing this, like try to overwrite this. So just try to overwrite this. So so just clear this. So now let's just replace this with our own script. Should be bash dash IP. So, and now that we've replaced it with this, so now we have to like, yeah. So now let's just run the whole run container binary and see if we'll be giving permission to this. And as you can see, we have also successfully escalated our privilege. So let's just go into /root folder and then we have our reward for escalating privilege, which is this. So let's just see if our flag is correct or probably run into another rabbit hole. And as you can see, we have successfully run this. So let me just quickly explain. So the first thing after the initial access was that we noticed some sharewareness, and it was not share drill, which we had to deal with, which was bypassing Apparmour. From there, we found an SUID binary that was not like, it's not a typical SUID binary. And it was matching a name that we saw a directory while we were trying to deal with Apparmour bypass. And then we had permissions to overwrite it, and then we were able to escalate privilege. Thank you for sticking with us, and then see you in the next video.